Good morning. Good Sunday to everyone. Thank you for joining me, guys. How's everyone doing today? I hope you guys hear me okay. Let me just check this out. Oh, yeah. Okay, good. Nice to see everyone on this Sunday. Hey, we're already in what? August. August. Man, summer's just been for many reasons. I don't know if you guys feel the same way as me, but it, it's where oh, I'm hearing sound over here. Hold on one second. Why am I getting sound coming through here? Let's just mute it. All right, there we go. Just want to make sure the sound is coming through clearly here. Um, yep, should be fine. Awesome. So you guys can hear me. Okay, good. So how's everybody doing? August, guys. August. Next is September. I can't believe it. It's like summer has just gone by really, really too fast, and it's really. I just feel like Groundhog's Day. Every day is like the last one. You know, I haven't done anything for like the longest time because of this COVID situation. So it's like, it's when you don't do anything different, the days just blur into each other, and at the end of the day, you're just like you feel like it's gone by so fast without anything to actually remember that you did. Kind of sucks. Last week, guys, I wasn't live for the first time on Sunday. I know some of you sent me some messages. I appreciate that. Some of you were concerned. That's really nice of you guys. Nothing happened. There was no mishap or anything. It's just that I was extremely busy and I wasn't able to squeeze in a live session last Sunday. But I appreciate you guys missing me, and I'm gonna try my best to be consistent from here on in with the Sunday shows. It's just that I have a lot of stuff happening right now, and time is just a question of like trying to squeeze everything in. So this is show number 33. For those of you who haven't been attending the live shows, we do them every Sunday morning, generally from 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time to about 11 or so. It depends on, what the momentum is in the chat and how many people are online and what kind of questions are flying in. So generally, and during these live events, what I like to do is to first of all answer questions that you guys might have regarding, stuff that I've reviewed on my channel in the past, some new gear. If you guys have questions about gear, guitars, or pedals, or anything else, now's the time to ask them. From time to time, what I like to do is I also like to go through some questions that were that came in during the live chat, not the live chats, but the comments on the videos, because sometimes there's some really good questions that come in, and I really would like to get the opportunity to answer those questions. And if you guys, ever comment on my videos, I do my best to try and answer those questions as well. And so sometimes they just pile up. So I thought it would be a good opportunity to answer some of those questions and just say hi to everyone. So let's start off by saying hi to the gang. Let's see who's here today. Jack Collins, good morning. Cool Tunes, nice to see you. Paul's in the house. Cushman, New York City. It's a new face. Welcome, Kush. So we have Jack Collins, we have Alan is in the house, Fat Philosopher, good evening, Fat Philosopher, hope you're doing well, man. Ed B, good morning, Ed. I like your logo, man. Reminds me of Van Halen. There's a lot of familiar faces here, and I'm very happy to see a lot of common people coming back regularly on the show. Then from time to time, I see some new faces as well. Decal, Vi, hi from Montreal. Hey, nice to see you, man. Hey, Rich, nice to see you as well. So, Decal, no chat last week, as I just said. Just got extremely busy. Richard Johnson, hello, Richard. The Nye, good morning. Al Raymond, good morning. Bud H, good morning. And Bruce, good morning. So Bruce says he's got the new PRS SE Custom 22 Hollow and he loves it. You can't go wrong with PRSs. The student editions, that's the SEs, are great value for the money. Um, I had I definitely the one I have, which is also a hollow body. It's the Zach Wild model. Great guitar. In terms of construction, the way it's made, it's outstanding for the amount of money. If you get those SEs at a discount, if you buy them used, they're really great value for the money. And the hollow ones are nice as well. I haven't tried the Custom 22 hollow, but hopefully I will try to get my hands on one and try and play it. The only ones that I wasn't really crazy about that I tried, and I actually bought one, was the Tremonti SE model, and it was an early one because the Tremontis, they came out with a couple of different ones. They have the early models, and then they re-released them, or maybe started making them somewhere else. That was not, I don't know, it didn't feel as nice to me, and it didn't feel as resonant. Some of the SEs, you have to be careful. I tried the Torero. I don't know if you guys know what that is. That's the model that they have with the Floyd Rose on them, and it was extremely heavy. Like, I don't know, it just wasn't well balanced. So I wasn't crazy about that one, but my Zach Myers one is great. I highly recommend that one if you like the single cut style of those guitars. Those are really, really nice guitars. So congratulations on that guitar, man. I think you're gonna like it. Hey Wayne, nice to see you, man. You panicked last Sunday when you weren't there? Oh, sorry, man. I didn't mean to panic you. No, dude, it's just that I have so many things going on right now at the same time. If you guys have been watching my channel, I don't even have time to put out some videos, and I usually try and put out at least one video a week, sometimes two or three, but I just didn't have time. Honestly, it's just a question of time management. That's all it is. I'm actually doing a couple of things at the same time. So not only the videos that I'm doing, I'm also offering online guitar lessons. So if any of you actually are interested in having some lessons, I give them via Skype, and I usually don't go crazy with the lessons because I simply don't have time. But there are a couple of people that actually have reached out to me and wanted some lessons, so I try to oblige. But it's usually a limited amount of people because I just simply don't have the time. So I started doing that, so that eats up a big chunk of my time. I also started doing some treatments. For those of you who don't know, I mean, it's not a secret. I'm gonna share it with you. We're all friends here. I have a skin condition, as you can see. So there's a pigment discoloration. It's called vitiligo. It's a kind of a not very common condition, but some people do have it. Unfortunately, I have it, which means that some of my skin pigment basically dies out. And so where I have pigment, it's dark, as you can see here. And where I don't have pigment, it ends up being white. So I don't get tanned in these areas. And I have it all over. I have it in my face, I have it in my hands, and I have it different parts of my body, as you can see. It's pretty rare. I mean, it's like 1%, 1.5% of the population has this thing. It's not life-threatening or anything. It just doesn't look nice. But I've had it since I was about 7 or 8 years old. And I decided to finally do something about it because they've made advances in some treatments using UV lights. This is the same type of thing that Michael Jackson had. It's the same scenario. It basically progresses. There's nothing you can do about it. But recently they've played around with some treatments, and some of the treatments that they have involve UVB lights. So it's kind of like a tanning bed, except it's very a specialized narrow band UVB treatments, which basically just um, it stimulates the skin to reproduce the pigment cells. Okay, but you got to go. It's really a pain because you got to go like 3 times a week, and you have to go regularly. If you skip a day, then it slows things down. So you have to go every other day, which is a pain. But I figured, you know what, I'm gonna try it to see if it works, and see what happens with that, and hopefully it'll help. But a lot of people don't know about this thing, but there are people out there that have it. It's something that people don't like to have, don't like to see, especially if you're dark. I usually stay pretty pale, so it doesn't show as much. And since I'm in the northern hemisphere, I don't have to worry about sun too much. But if I get dark, you'll see it. You'll notice it more. So that's part of what I've been doing. So beyond that, beyond the treatments for the skin, beyond the lessons, the videos, and regular family stuff, it's been pretty hectic and busy. So just wanted to tell you guys, give you an update, and I really appreciate you guys being worried about me. What else? So the show is number 33 today, and as usual, I put a discount code for those of you that are new around here and don't know how it works. You can basically buy some swag. The link is usually down by the the video description. You can click on the link to my store, and you can support the channel by buying t-shirts and mugs and phone cases and stickers and all that kind of stuff. But during the shows, during the live events, I usually put out a discount code, and today's discount code is ATG33, Addicted to Gear 33. And if you use that discount code when you buy any of the merch, you get a 10% discount, and that's good for just a couple of days. So take advantage of that if you like. I want to say a big thank you to everyone who's already encouraged the channel by picking up some swag. And before I forget, actually, I want to say, I want to give out a shout to Gianni Marico. Unfortunately, when I have these events, I use a software, and the software that I use is Ecamm Live. And so I see the comments, but I don't see the super chats. And for some reason, I missed Gianni's super chat during one of the events, and I really feel bad about it. And he asked a question, so I want to just answer that question. He asked me if I ever heard of Liberatory Guitar, and the answer to that is yes. Liberatory is a local luthier in Montreal, and he builds guitars, and he has a lot of super Strat style guitars that he puts out, and he's become quite popular in the area. And he'll build a custom guitar to your specs. And I guess he was trying to ask me whether or not I've heard of him, and whether or not I would give the nod of approval. And the answer is yeah. I have no problems with Liberatory. He has a good reputation, and I think he knows what he's doing. He's been around for probably over 40 years now. So I think you'd be safe going out to him and asking him to build something for you. So that's just to put that straight. And I'm sorry if I missed your super chats, guys. It's just that I have to have 2 windows open all the time to be able to see the super chats come in. That's a real pain. So forgive me for that. So let's go back to some of the questions, guys. The question of the day today, it's maybe a boring question of the day, but it comes up over and over again, and I just wanted to get the pulse of the crowd, so to speak, and see where we're at in terms of what guitars and stuff we want to pick up. So the question of the day is, are you a Strat guy, a Tele guy, or a Les Paul guy, or none? Maybe some of you don't like any of those and prefer, some brand new style guitar that's not the top three. And give me your feedback on that. For me, I don't really have a preference between the three. I mean, that's not true. I do have a preference. Um, Lately, it's been shifting between Telecaster and Les Paul. I've been playing Strats a lot less, and when I do play a Strat style guitar, it's usually something with humbuckers. But that doesn't mean I don't like Strats. I do like Strats, and when I pick one up, I appreciate the Strat for what it is, and the glassy sound and the spankiness of it. I like Strats a lot. I have a few, but lately it hasn't been what I'm after in terms of a sound. And the Telecaster and the Les Paul kind of do it a lot, maybe more for me. And I also am enjoying the P90s in a Les Paul style guitar as well. So I think I like more of a little bit more bite. The Telecaster definitely gives me more bites, definitely gives me more cut, especially when I'm in a live situation. And the Les Paul sounds that I like is not necessarily the rounded sound. I like more bite to my Les Paul as well. Fat Philosopher, the name is Liberatore. It's Libratore. That's the name of the fellow that builds these guitars. And so if you're ever in Montreal and you're looking to have a guitar built, that's the guy. That's the guy for you. There are other people that build guitars as well, but he's well known. All right, so let's answer a few questions. Let's get started and have a look, see at what everybody is talking about today. Let me just scroll. There's quite a few questions already. Here, so Ed was commenting on Fat Philosopher's comment saying, yes, very good point. Fret access on higher notes is excellent. It's just not the easiest body shape to play sitting down or to balance when standing up. Lots of neck diving usually. So I think, let me just go back to the question. The V is not so bad. Great upper fret access and light. I never got into flying Vs. A friend of mine had one, a Gibson flying V, similar to the one that Joe Bonamassa plays now. I tried it. It sounded good and it felt good regarding the neck, but I just couldn't get used to the thing sliding off my leg all the time. You have to almost play it like a classical guitar, and you have to jam it in your thigh so that the crooks of the V is like in your thigh, so it doesn't slide, and you're playing it like this all the time. So the V's, I don't know, they're not really for me, and it's also a little bit too much of an aggressive shape. I don't know. It doesn't, to me, it doesn't seem ergonomic. I'm an ergo guy. I like things that feel good when you're holding them. So I like the Strat so much because the tummy tuck and the little armrest area here just feels really good. And now with these things carved out and stuff, it just makes them play really nice. By the way, this is, for those of you who haven't seen the review, this is the Harley Benton Fusion 2. I changed the pickups in this guitar a while back. I did a video on that. I just pulled it out today because I haven't played it in a while. I've been working on playing a couple of other guitars. Also, one of the other reasons that my time has been eaten up is I've been working on that 335 kit that I purchased, and it's right behind me, right there. You can see it right over, it's right behind me there. And I actually got to the point of putting strings on it, and I had an oh no moment. Shit. It was really discouraging, guys. Let me fill you in on what happened exactly. It's just like, what a nightmare. So the kit was coming along nicely. I did have a couple of little drawbacks, and I had to basically work with some issues and stuff. But I got to the point where I could actually start putting the strings on. And let me show you what happened. Check this out. Sorry for the mess in the studio. I've been recording and I got like cables and stuff lying around all over the place. All right, so here it is, right? This is the famous or infamous guitar kit that I started to build, right? You guys have been probably, some of you anyway, have been following the build. So I finally got, it looking good with the paint job. I put in a little skull head decal thing on the headstock because I didn't feel like putting anything else on it. I changed the tuners and I started putting in the hardware. I started putting in the pickups. I started, getting things set up. Now, the critical aspect of when you build these things, when you put on the strings, then you get to see whether or not the neck is straight. And I took it for granted because the company that I bought this from, do-it-yourself guitar kits, told me all the bodies were cut CNC and they were gonna fit nicely. So I put in the neck. When I glued in the neck, I basically trusted the neck joint. So the neck joint was perfectly tight against the body here, all the way around. There was no gap. So I said, I'm good to go. Glued it in. Well, lo and behold, it's not the case. So if you look at the strings here, all right, look at this string here, and then look at this string, right? So you have the low E and the high E string. Well, the low E string is off. If you look at it carefully, see how far in it is on the neck? The string should actually be a good 6 millimeters further out, okay, to be lined up properly. So there's two possibilities when you see that. Possibility one is the neck is not glued in straight. Possibility two is the bridge is not in the right place. It should be further out or further in. So after calling the gentleman that I got this kit from, he tells me that the neck was taken from another kit and included in this kit. So I'm thinking if that's the case, then possibly the neck is not as high quality in terms of CMC and maybe the actual neck joint was slightly off. I'm hoping that it's not this end because that would mean having to take these out, re-drill them and put them back in the right place, which is it's a nightmare to do, guys. So I haven't given up. There's still light at the end of the tunnel. What I'm going to end up doing for sake of the project is I'm going to steam out the neck, take it off and reset it and put it back in, which is a lot of headache and not fun to do, right? So basically what you need to do at that point is you're going to take out the pickups, you're going to have to drill holes inside the cavity along the glue joints between the neck and the body, little holes. Then you're going to have to get a steamer and put in a needle in there with the steam coming out, heat up the glue so it comes off, take off the neck, reset it in the right position, re-glue it, and then just, fix up the trim here wherever the paint needs to be resprayed. Luckily, I'm using lacquer, so lacquer is good for that. But it's just a pain. It really is. I really wanted to get this guitar playing, and it's still not there yet. But I haven't given up. Like I said, I'm going to keep on working at it, and hopefully it'll play. I mean, it feels nice, just like this. It's going to feel great once it's done. So anyway, that's that. Yeah, it's a sad story. If I don't have the patience to do all that and I just, don't run out of time, I'll just sell it I'll just sell the entire thing. I put in a lot of hours for the paint job, guys. Honestly, I really did. And so it came out pretty nice. Um, Somebody who has the skills can actually get it fixed, but I haven't given up yet. I'm going to keep on at it till I can get it to play the way it should be. And you know what, Fat Philosopher? Yeah, you reminded me of that contest, the guitar build-off that's going on with a few other YouTubers. I'm a little bit miffed that I wasn't invited. I guess I'm not big enough for them, or maybe they don't realize that I actually put together. am capable of putting together guitars or whatever. They probably don't even know who I am. So maybe on the next one, who knows? It would have been fun, but honestly, I probably wouldn't have time to do that anyways now. So I know it's too many things going on at the same time. Um, you like the headstock, Ed? I don't know. I thought it might be a little bit too gaudy, but I didn't want to put anything else. I didn't want to put my name on it. I figured, what the hell, a little, and it's actually it looks like mother of pearl. I don't know if you can see it there. Kind of looks like mother of pearl. Uh, I don't know if you can see it. Can you see it? I thought it looked cool. Yeah, that's why I liked the skull, because it's kind of a contradiction. Usually when you have a 335, you don't think metal, and I figured the skull would be a nice alternate take on it. Bruce says, I've done a lot of repairs on V's for my friend's shop in the past and never had one in my hands that I liked. Doesn't mean it's a bad guitar, just not for me. They play and sound fine. And Bruce also says, yeah, a lot of the V's do have baseball bat necks. They're a little bit thicker. And if you like thin necks, then you won't like that one. But I kind of like thicker necks. I like both. I like what I like is the ability to go from one thing to another. So I'll play a thick neck for a while, then I'll get tired of that. I'll go to the thin necks. Then I'll play that for a while, and then I'll go back to something else. For me, it's a question of choice. I just like the idea of having choice. That's all, you know. Um, Quicksilver says, "Can't you put that SC guitar back as a bolt-on rather than gluing it back in case it comes out wrong again?" You probably could. You probably could. You would have to. Well, actually, the bolt would have to go here, right? So I don't know. I'm sure you can, but I'm not really. I don't like bolt-on necks on 335s. But yeah, you can. Uh, it does sound like moving the bridge might be easier, to be honest. But then you have to. The neck's still going to be crooked, and then you still have to drill and replug the holes, and then you're gonna see kind of the holes. You can patch it up. I mean, it's not a big thing. It's just six millimeters. Probably would be easier in actual fact. Um, yeah, you might be right. There's also there's also bridges like this that you can buy and put them in, and they actually have left and right adjustments. The bridge, the actual string goes over a little kind of roller, and the roller's on a little thread, like almost like a screw thread, and you can roll the roller, and you can adjust it left to right. And so if you need a little bit more adjustment, you can actually work with it. But the thing is, I need about 6 millimeters, which would be like the outermost of the play, and I think it would look weird. So I don't think I want to do that. I have a little bit of ADD or ADHD, whatever you want to call it. I like things to be done properly, and I don't like it when things are not straight. Um, you can see at the top here, like the string is really over the pickup magnets, almost centered. So, it's in the right place up here. Down here, it kind of isn't. If you look at the pickup, it's kind of a little bit off. Um, So the pickup needs to be, I mean, the string really needs to be further this way, which would mean to, you know, it could also be a combination of things. The thing is also the cavities on this thing for the pickups were a little bit too small. And so I had to actually sand them out a little bit for the pickups to fit. So that's why when somebody tells me everything's done CNC and it's perfect, and then you have to root out the pickup cavities to make the pickups fit, it kind of is a red flag for me. So, you know, I was really excited about this kit. Now, not so much. I know that there's other kits out there that claim to be more precise. So, you know, eventually I might pick up one of those kits and just compare it to this one. It's just that it requires so much time to finish, man. I don't know if I'm going to have that kind of time again. So I'll keep you guys posted. Keep you guys posted on how and what happens. So I agree with you, Alan. Yeah, it was kind of a surprise to me that the neck was an alternate neck, and I only learned that after. But it's my fault because I should have actually, when you glue in a neck, especially in a 335 project, the way to do it is really to pull a string from the center, you know, of the nut to the center of the bridge and make sure everything is aligned. And I didn't do that. I took it for granted, and I'm an idiot for not doing that. So chalk one up to experience. But that's the reason why I picked up the kit. I picked up the kit to learn, and now I'm going to learn how to, you know, remove or just unglue a neck. And that's not for beginners. That technique. I'm going to spend time. The first thing I got to do is make a steamer. So I'm going to have to spend some time MacGyvering a steamer. And some people use coffee makers. Old coffee makers, and they use the steam from that. I actually have a steamer that you steam, you know, curtains with. And that would work really well because it gets super hot. But then I would have to modify the tip and kind of break it, kind of, you know, hijack it for another purpose. So I don't know if I want to actually do that, but I'm gonna see. I'll find a way of doing it. I'm sure that there's gonna be ways for me to do that, and I'll keep you posted. All right, so let's go back to some questions. By the way, guys, I know there's been some talk about Gibson lately. I don't know if you guys know this, but Gibson is offering $59,000 as a reward. So if you guys want to make some quick cash, you can get a nice chunk of change from Gibson because they're looking for the lost ledgers that they kept back in 1959, 1960. Whenever they would sell guitars, they had an actual ledger that they would write into regarding the models that they were selling and making at the time. And that's the time where they were making those beautiful bursts. And they're really rare nowadays, and they're worth a lot of money. They're trying to find the ledger. Apparently it went missing during a move, and it disappeared, and somebody has this ledger somewhere, and they're offering 60,000 for 59,000. I don't know why 59. I guess because it's the 59s. You know, it's kind of like a marketing thing. $59,000 for the 59 ledger. But still, it's a good chunk of change. If you know anybody who has that document, that book, you're sitting on $60,000 worth of change. So they're just trying to figure out how many they actually made. And I guess it's important for them to get this info. So spread the word, man. That's a nice little nest egg. You can buy quite a few things. I think if you have the ledger, what they should have really done is giving you a 59. You know, give you a 59 Les Paul for your trouble. Way better than 59,000 bucks. So I'm scrolling backwards here. Hey Victor, how's it going, man? Nice to see you, dude. It does sound like moving the bridge might be easier, to be honest. Yeah, I know. I'll think about that. Ed says, that's a great paint job, Tony. Nice job so far. Yeah, it took a long time, but I'm getting better at it. That's the good news. I wish I would be able to use a spray gun. I just don't have the space. Like I don't have a spray booth, so I don't do enough of these projects to actually warrant building a spray booth in my garage or something like that. So I can't really use a full-fledged spray gun. So I use spray cans. It takes a lot longer to do. If I had a spray gun, it would be a lot easier. What I really need is a spray gun. Well, I have a spray gun, a spray booth, and a buffer, like those big wheel buffers. Because when I buff the guitar, I do it by hand, and it really is long. If you have one of those wheel buffers, it doesn't take long at all. Fat Philosopher says, that guy from Edmonton is in the contest and your channel is the same size of Texas Toast. They should get you in there. I'll email Crimson Guitars. I don't even know if it's too late. I think it's already started. Weren't they supposed to like be almost finished by now? So I would probably be in the tail end of it. I could ask, but I don't want to be, lagging behind at this point. Jack says, I've been putting a lot of hours on sanding my kit that I'm putting together, getting that clear stuff off of it. The clear stuff? Oh, you mean the extra glue. Um, Either it's glue or it's sanding sealer, in which case, if it is sanding sealer, you don't want to remove that stuff, Jack. Because the sanding sealer stops your paint from sucking into the wood. And if you remove the sanding sealer, you're going to be putting in a lot of coats of paint, my friend. So don't go too crazy. If it's glue, you want to get, like, if there's remnants of glue, you want to get that off. But if it's sanding sealer, you don't want to remove that. Dean are best when they are over the $600 price range. I still don't like the headstocks on the Dean. Sorry guys, that's just me. It looks like a reverse flying V kind of thing. Way too big. The Gospel of Mark. Hey, nice to see you, dude. My 72 Fender reissued Telecaster thin line actually has a fairly chunky neck profile. I like a C-shaped neck, but not necessarily like not a D shape, but maybe a chunky C. It's hard to get the neck thing right, but you know it's right when you feel it. It's hard to go by spec. Sometimes people say, oh, it's a C neck on this particular guitar, and at the end it's like a slim C. So you really have to feel it before you buy one. I have a thick neck on a Kramer Striker. I like it on that guitar, but I also like the very thin fast necks of my Ibanez ones. I think I like to have various guitars with a variety of necks and feels. I'm the same way, Ed. I'm the same way. I like variety. I'm not necessarily tied into one particular guitar type or shape or neck profile. I like different things at different times, depending on how I'm feeling. I don't know why people don't like wizard necks. I mean, I like the wizard necks. I have no problem with them. Uh, but the thing is, in my favorite type of profile, not really. But I don't mind playing wizard necks. They're a lot of fun. I never tried an Ernie Ball Petrucci. I don't know if the Ernie Ball Petrucci has the same neck profile as the Music Man's. But I did have a Music Man with a really nice neck, except I felt that on the Ernie Ball guitars, the thing that I didn't like is that here at the nut was a little bit too narrow. Everywhere else it felt really nice, but when you got up to the nut, It just was a little bit too small for my fingers compared to all of my other guitars. And it's unfortunate because the neck really felt really nice. The thing about the Ernie Ball necks is that they don't use poly on them. They actually use a combination of oil and wax. And it feels great. They are a little bit more sensitive to moisture and temperature change, to humidity change. I noticed that whenever I would take the Ernie Ball guitar to a gig, let's say I was playing in the winter time and I'd go from inside to outside, when I would get to the studio, the neck was all out of tune. So they're a little bit more sensitive to moisture changes and all that kind of stuff, I think, because they're not actually finished in like a poly. Thanks, Gospel of Mark. Yeah, the 335, it is looking nice, and I can't wait to finish it. It's just a pain. But you know what? Everybody says, with work and struggle, you appreciate it more. So maybe when it's finally put together and everything's in the right place, maybe I'll actually enjoy it. I'll enjoy it more because I actually put more work into it. Sent back my Steinberger after Gibson screwed up the repair on it. Ay, man, you don't have much luck, fat philosopher. But hey, you know what? If you're not happy with it, it's a good thing you sent it back. Why not? If you have the opportunity to send it back, then send it back. Have you played the ESP LTD Deluxe EC1000 electric guitar Amber Sunburst? What are your thoughts on that guitar versus a PRS SE24? I have the LTD and love it. I haven't played it, but let me check that out. ESP LTD Deluxe. Let's try and see if I can find that quickly here. And that's the EC, not the MH. Oh yeah, okay, I'm familiar with these guitars. Yeah, I've seen them many times. What do I think about it? I mean, just by looking at it, it looks like a nice guitar. The one I can see here looks very similar to a Black Beauty. You know what? Correct me if I'm wrong, but this guitar looks a lot like the guitar that they're selling on Harley Benton, the Harley Benton version. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Harley Benton makes a version very, very similar to this, and probably for less money. But it looks like a really nice guitar. It's selling for about $1,000 used on Reverb right now, and it's $249 shipping. A little steep. This one has EMG pickups on it, so I'm not a big fan of EMG pickups. But it looks nice. It's $1,000 though. I don't know if you can get something else for $1,000, or maybe a similar guitar for less money and just upgrade the pickups. Rico says, for my V, I use a Fender Deluxe hanging guitar stand. Yeah, you can also get the Hercules stands where you can just hang them and they don't have to hold the guitar at the bottom. I bought a couple more cheap stands because I was running out of room and I'm running out of cases. And so I usually, this stand here can hold 5 guitars. It's a Hercules stand. I like it a lot. But I had other guitars that were like lying around, and I don't like keeping guitars out of the cases. Eventually, I get a case for most of my guitars, but in the meantime, I needed somewhere to put it, so I just bought some cheapy stands that you see behind me there, just to keep things out of the way. But eventually, I'll have to figure out a better way of storing these things. I keep checking my own email box. Whenever I hear that email notification sound, it must be in the video. No, sorry, it's another computer. It's another computer that I have here. I'm working off a laptop, and when an email comes in, it'll ring. Sorry about that. I wish Harley Benton would make a Black Beauty style guitar with P90 pickups in it, and give it a matte finish. That would be really, really sweet. Um, Unfortunately, I don't think they have one like that yet. What are your thoughts on spending the extra money to get a custom pickup from the Seymour Duncan custom shop? Um, I have no problem with doing that. You're talking to the wrong guy to talk you out of upgrading pickups. If any of you know, I've been guilty of upgrading almost all of my pickups on my guitars. What are you looking for, Jimmy, in a sound? Like, what type of sound are you looking for, and what's your budget? And I'm surprised you can't find something you like off the shelf. But if it's very specific, if it's a very specific tone that you're looking for, it's a good way of doing it. The only thing is, if you haven't ever tried it before, you might be disappointed when you get it, because how are you gonna know what you get? Neck preferences also depends on the shape of the hand. Some players have short palms and long fingers. Others have big palms and short fingers. Mine are balanced in the middle. Yeah, it's true. Um, I don't know. I think I'm flexible enough to kind of enjoy both. This neck is actually, I would say it's a slim C. It's not very fat at all, and it's comfortable to play. Also depends if you play with your fingers here. If you do any kind of fancy hybrid picking or whatnot, you might require a bit more space between the strings. But I don't, so might check out the 10S headless. Anyone ever play one? I didn't. The headless guitars maybe are making a comeback, or maybe it's just Fat Philosopher mentioning that quite a few times. I don't see too many other companies making headless guitars for whatever reason. So I don't know if it's just because it's more technically challenging to make them, or if maybe there's no real advantage to having a headless guitar. I don't know. What is the advantage? You know, I'm not really sure what the big what the selling point is for a headless guitar. Is it more sustain? I don't think so. The Nye says we're lucky to be able to try all three models because of the price points on lower end guitars. Absolutely true. A lot of people, though, they will automatically gravitate towards one or the other. You know what I mean? Some people just don't like Telecasters. I took a long time for me to understand why a Telecaster is so great. Now I love Telecasters, but it took me a long time to actually try one. And then when I did it, I was sold, and I bought a couple of them. So automatically the first guitar I gravitated towards was the Strat, just because I thought the Strat was a pro guitar. You look at the body shape, you look at all the people that playing Strats. There was a lot of them when I was a kid, so I figured, if I want to be a pro, I need a Strat. I didn't even consider, the Telecaster. And although I love Led Zeppelin, um, I wasn't really drawn to Les Paul at that time. Now I like them, so I guess your tastes will change over time. Cool Tunes Made Easy has some advice for me. He says, get one of those portable sauna steamers. Has a hose and small nozzle, will work perfect. Sauna steamer? I don't know if I know. I don't know if I know what you're talking about. What's a sauna steamer? I'm not really sure. I'll have to look that up. Can I get one on Amazon? I'll check it out after the show. Gibson is desperate for publicity. Absolutely, man. They're really, I think they're really trying to pump up the marketing game. They see that, there's a lot of benefits to being out there on social media. Maybe they haven't taken advantage of that in the past. And now I think they want to jump in the game and show that they can compete with everyone else. I think Harley Benton, is kicking their ass when it comes to getting products in the hands of influencers and doing a good job of the social media aspect of it. So I think they're trying to up their game, which is not a bad thing. It's just that they have a lot of work to do. You know what I mean? Compared to some other people, I mean, they're a little bit more snobby in terms of getting their products out in the hands of social influencers, and they're the big boys, so they make the rules. They're just trying to stay relevant. Exactly. They have to change with the times. I think they realize that. Hopefully with the new blood that they've recently brought in, I think it's forcing them to move a little bit more. When you're a big company, you move slow. When you're a small company, you're a lot more nimble. So, smaller companies can do a lot more very fast on social media and all that kind of stuff. So, it's hard to keep up with smaller companies if you're a big one. Yeah, so Fat Philosopher's pissed off on, regarding Gibson. And you know what? A lot of people end up being pissed off at Gibson for one reason or another because he says they ruined his Steinberger. So I don't know exactly what happened, but hey, if you returned it, Fat Philosopher, you're not on the red at least. And you can take that money and spend it somewhere else. The Gospel of Mark. I love my Gibson Les Paul, but Gibson as a company makes me cringe sometimes. Bums me out since I named my firstborn son Gibson. Oh man, what are you gonna do now? What's his middle name? Yeah, the contest ends at the end of August. That's too much, too close of a. That will give me like a couple of weeks. I don't think it would be doable to unless I spend 8 hours a day every day working on it. It's not going to happen. I used to have several Gibson Les Pauls, sold them all, switched to Eastman, and I have an Oscar Smith that I have set up perfectly for me. Don't miss the Les Pauls at all. Joe, the both the Eastman and the Oscar Smith has very good feedback ratings all over the internet. I haven't tried Eastman. I've actually contacted them and asked them if they might send me something to review, but they haven't responded. So I don't know if I ever will review one, but they look really nice in terms of guitars, and they look like they're well built as well. So if they sound as good as they look, uh, quite a bargain, I think, and a great alternative to Gibson guitars. I bought a Carl Mon. I can't speak yet. I bought a Carl Martin Panama pedal on Reverb. Hope I like it. Heard so many good things about it. So obviously the EVH sound. I'm sure you'll like it, man. I haven't tried it. I tried a Mad Professor. What do they call them? Professor One. Is that the one? Which is I think tailored after like the Van Halen One album sound. I didn't like it at all. It's the pedal where you have a distortion and you have like a reverb built in to the same pedal. It sounded terrible, and I was really miffed because I bought it on a whim, but I ended up selling it. I sold it like 2 days after I bought it, and it didn't really do it for me. For me, the Van Halen sound. If you're looking for a good Van Halen sound, you can get the Wampler Pinnacle is a great pedal. And as I mentioned many times, you guys might be sick of hearing it, but the Brown Sound in a Box pedal kit that you can get from General Guitar Gadgets. You can buy it as a kit and build it yourself. That's what I did. Or you can actually have him build it for you, and it's about 100 bucks. Does a really good Van Halen sound. I was actually really impressed, and at one point I was using that pedal more than my Wampler Pinnacle, and the Wampler Pinnacle was my favorite till that point. So check it out if you happen not to like that one. But you might, you might very well like it a lot. I'm going to check out some reviews on that. Write it down because I haven't checked that one out yet. I like to take notes while I'm doing these live sessions because you guys sometimes come out with some really good tips and point me in the right direction for some gear. And speaking of pedals, just so I keep up with you guys, I also picked up something recently. I picked up this guy here. I don't know if you guys have seen this one or know about it. It's the Visual Sound H2O. It's a big pedal, and I've been slowly moving away from big pedals because I like to maximize the space on my pedal board. But the reason why I got this one is because it's actually 2 pedals in one. So although it's large, it's actually smaller if you think about it, because you have 2 pedals in this box. And what it is the H2O, you have one side of it is a chorus pedal, the other side of it is a delay pedal. And it's pretty cool because if you can check out the ins and outs here, the way it works is you have an opportunity to do a couple of different things. You can actually have an independent in and out for both of them. So if you want to use them as independent pedals, you can. You see there's an in and out here for this side, and you have an in and out here for this side. So you can technically use them independently or use one side only if you want, but you can also use them together, and you can also use it in stereo. So it's a very flexible pedal. And I already have a chorus pedal from TC Electronics, which is good because you have the tone print feature there. You can actually download different chorus features in there. I don't use it that much, chorus in general, but it's nice to have on your board. And I do like the delay. So this was kicking off a delay pedal off my board and kicking off the TC Electronic chorus pedal off my board. And I'm able to use both in one now. And the cool thing also is it does have a detune feature, so you can actually get the chorus or the delay to detune as it repeats. And you can also, there's an intensity switch here, so you can go with a subtle chorus or a pretty extreme chorus. And you also have extra buttons here for the chorus, for tone, and for the chorus. You can actually almost make it sound like a vibrato if you pump this switch all the way up. So it's quite an interesting pedal. I'm going to do a review on it for you guys as well. It's always nice to have a cool pedal. And also I've been playing around with this pedal. This is the Hotone or Hot One or whatever you want to call it. This is the mini IR pedal. And the reason I was playing with this is because I was recently doing some recording, and the cool thing about this pedal is it has a balanced output, and what it does is you're able to use this and play with IRs, so you can mimic different speaker cabinet styles. So with the amp that I got recently, the Black Star JJN, I can go directly from the amp silently into my DAW. Now, if I don't like the speaker sound, I actually have more options if I go into this first and then go into my DAW, so I can emulate different speaker and cabinet settings as well, and get a little bit more of different variations of sounds. So it's a cool pedal. It's a very nice pedal to play around with. So this is another one that I have to eventually do a review for you guys on. And what else? Oh yeah, I almost forgot. There's a couple more things. So you guys might have remembered when I did a review on the Mighty plug. So this little guy, basically it's a plug that you plug into your guitar. You can put headphones into this, and with your mobile device, you can actually emulate a bunch of different amps and cabinets and effects. And it's really cool to be able to practice with this. My son actually is using this more than I am at this point, and he loves it because he can practice silently in his room. And so recently I got this guy here. Let me just, also that I want to review this for you guys soon. This is the Mighty Air, and this is a Bluetooth mini amp, so to speak. So it's got kind of the same features as the Mighty Plug. So when you're playing this, guy with headphones, it sounds a lot like this, okay? But the added advantage to this is that it has speakers that you can actually use as a Bluetooth speaker, so you can actually play music and listen to your music through the speakers. But you can also play it like a little mini amp, and it's got these little controls at the top here that you can control the amp sounds. But at the same time, the interface is either your phone or an iPad or something like that. And so you can actually play around and save your settings. And the added advantage is it comes with one of these guys. So this you can plug into your guitar, and it wirelessly will connect to this. So you can actually play in your room. You can have this on your counter or on your nightstand or wherever, and you could play directly through the speakers here. Now, I tried it, and honestly, speakers are okay. They don't really sound as good as the headphones. The headphones really sound great. So if you want to get the maximum sound, plug in a good set of headphones into this guy and you're rocking. It really is impressive. The cool thing also about this is that you can also, there's an aux in, so you can actually play music and play along with it and jam along with it. So it's a nice little device for a variety of reasons. Is it going to replace my amp? No, but it's not really designed to do that. As a practice, little amplifier, it's quite good. It's got an integrated drum machine as well. You can play with a metronome or drum patterns. It's quite nice. So I'm going to be doing a full review on that too shortly for you guys. There's a lot of great things coming out right now, guys. It's just so many gadgets, At the end of the day, though, which ones will you actually end up keeping? You know what I mean? They're coming out with some good stuff. And also, we're on a Nux and rampage right now. So let me talk about this here. This is another device that came out recently from Nux. This is basically a multi-effects unit that they came out with. It's called the MG300. And I know you guys probably have seen my videos where I talked about the Hotone multi-effects, the Ampero, which I really like. So I have the full-blown one and the small one and this one. So I have to do a review on this one as well for you guys. I'm going to ultimately do a review comparing this one to the Hotone one. Actually, not the one, the mini one, and compare it. I can honestly tell you, however, that this one is not necessarily in the same league as the Ampero. It really isn't. Many different ways. This is a plastic chassis. The screen is quite small. The ins and outs quite limited. You just have like an input and an output. You don't have anything too crazy there in terms of balanced in or out. You don't have effects loops. You have an aux in right over there, but you don't even have a, you have a headphone and you have an in. That's about it. That's all you got. So it's a lot more limited. The sounds are not as nice as the other one is, but it's still an interesting piece of equipment at a pretty cheap price point if you want to use it to practice. And this is gonna be for my son, so he's learning how to play guitar. And although I tell him to practice on his acoustic guitar, he likes his electric that I built for him. Also have a video of that if you want to check it out. So I'm gonna give him one of these so he can actually practice more often in his room silently and not disturb anyone. So there's a lot of stuff out there, guys. I know it's an influx of stuff, and at the end of the day, you don't know what to go for because they all kind of try and cannibalize each other. I'm having a bad hair day. Ooh, okay. Anyway, so they're all kind of trying to cannibalize each other, and at the end of the day, it's kind of more choice is better, but at the same time, it's more confusing for the people out there that haven't had the opportunity to know exactly how they work, and you got to really try a lot of different things to find the right one. So that's why I'm doing the reviews, guys. I really want to give you the opportunity to get the most information out of the reviews as possible so you could make a well-educated purchasing decision. A lot of people razz me on my videos saying, hey man, it's like 17 minutes that you talk before you actually play the guitar, or stuff like that. I mean, all I gotta say is, guys, if you want to just hear sounds, there's a million other videos on YouTube that you can go to and hear the sounds. I mean, the whole point is to get the information and get an honest opinion, in the sense where I can give you some information that maybe you can't get just out of sounds. You understand? So, you know, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, but try and make everybody happy is not always easy, guys. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Jimmy, how's it going, man? I play music in the style of Van Halen, Steve Vai, and 80s rock. I just like the novelty of having a custom one-off pickup from Seymour Duncan. They're $160 in just, I'm just talking myself into it. Well, but what, okay, so you're playing 80s rock, you're playing Steve Vai, Van Halen. So what do you want to get? You want to get sort of a Van Halen-ish type of pickup. I can honestly recommend Pariah pickups, man. They have a pickup called the Pasadena, which gets rave reviews. The guitarist playing with David Lee Roth right now on his little Vegas stint. He's a heck of a guitarist, and he nails that Van Halen sound, and he's using that pickup. So, and it's not 160 bucks. Check him out before you drop 160 bucks. Just saying, there might be something out there that you like a little bit more. One advantage of a headless guitar is no broken headstock like Gibson's. Da-dum-dum. That's Rich's joke of the day. Actually, it's not a joke. It's true. And they are also smaller. That's true, Bruce. They make better travel guitars, I guess. That's true. I'm not a fan of headless guitars. So this is Ed speaking. The only advantage to me would be to slam my headstock. Well, not to slam my headstock into things, but that's half the fun. Yeah, headless guitars are good for playing while you're driving. The window doesn't get in the way. You're cracking me up, Bruce. You're cracking me up. But it's true, you have a point. They also make great paddles. Oh boy. We're just razzing you, fat philosopher. I think headless guitars are cool. You know, Rush, Geddy Lee, and Alex Lifeson, I think, had some headless guitars way back in the day as well. I think one reason lots of companies don't make headless is because many of the headless bridges are patented. Yeah, it's true. And they're very complicated in terms of devices. They're not as easy as regular bridges are. They're machined very well, however, at least the ones I've tried. What's your thoughts on Friedman 1x12 guitar cabinets? Well, Friedman makes great amps. I can vouch for that. I love Friedman. Look, Friedman right there. That's the Dirty Shirley, which I love. As far as cabs, I think, like, my opinion on Friedman stuff is it's really expensive, but it's good. I mean, they're not bad. The amps are expensive, but you get what you pay for with the amps. The guitars, for me, they're pretty expensive. I don't know if I haven't played a Friedman guitar because they don't really distribute them here. So I can't really speak in terms of whether or not they feel great. But for the price, I mean, you're looking at about $3,500 for a Friedman guitar for like a bolt-on job. Seems like a lot of money to me. But, you know, I haven't tried one yet. So, I'm reserving my comments till when I try one. As far as the cabinets, I haven't used one, but for me, a cabinet is a cabinet, honestly, guys. I mean, I've seen the prices of these Friedman cabinets, and they're really expensive. Um, you can buy a cabinet and put whatever speakers you want in them. As long as you find out what Friedman's using inside their cabinets, it can't be that much of a difference. But if you have the scratch, they're great looking, and they won't lose value. That's for sure. Cool tunes made easy. Yes, Amazon has the steamers, but I would try Kijiji since you are in Montreal. People get rid of them for cheap. I still don't know what I'm looking for. Like, what kind of steamer is it? Is it like you're saying it's like a mini steamer, but what are they called? Like, is there a specific name for them? Like, I have a steamer for curtains, and I'm sure that'll work too. But you're saying it's not that, so let me know what I should be searching for. The Gospel of Mark says his middle name is Leo after Leo Fender. That's cool. Are you razzing me? Are you pulling my chain? So your his name is Gibson Leo. That's cool. Hats off to him, man. I hope he's going to pick up a guitar soon. Because if he doesn't, that'd be kind of silly. What if he starts playing piano instead? That'd be kind of confusing, wouldn't it? Ed says, yikes, sounds like a terrible idea for a pedal. I don't know if you're referring to this guy. I'm not really sure, but it works really well. I can vouch for that. So to each his own, I guess. Or are you talking about, I'm not sure if you're talking about that or you're talking about Brown Sound in a Box. I'm not really sure what you're talking about at that point. Maybe you can clarify your comment there. Rico says, what method platform do you use to sell your guitars? I like to do face-to-face transactions as much as possible because it limits any kind of surprises. So I usually will do it through my local Craigslist or Kijiji, that kind of thing, especially for buying. Selling too. I just give the people opportunity to try the instrument, try the guitar pedals, and it's, it is what it is after that, right? You get an opportunity to try it and then it's yours. So I don't want people to come back and say, hey man, it's not what I expected. I recently sold some pedals to a young kid, and I think maybe his brother or something like that. And so a bunch of these pedals that I had lying around, and I met him, and he opened up his trunk of his SUV, and he had fandangled some kind of power. He had a little mini amplifier with a guitar lying in the back, and he tried out some of the pedals, and they weren't working properly. And I'm like, dude, I don't know what you're using for a power supply, but his power supply wasn't really rated properly for pedals, and it was kind of like a jobber setup. And he's claiming the pedals don't work, and I'm like, dude, use a proper power supply and you'll see everything works. And later on he went home and tried them, and he's like, yeah man, sorry, everything works fine. I'm like, yeah, no kidding. So you have to be careful, but sometimes you get like odd circumstances around these buying and selling deals. You have to be vigilant. But I like to deal face to face as much as possible. I haven't used reverb yet. I don't see the point in reverb yet. And I stopped selling on eBay a long time ago. I used to sell a lot on eBay regularly, but the fees and pricing structure and all that kind of stuff between eBay and PayPal, it's not worth it anymore. You lose a lot of money off that. So I just prefer I actually will do Kijiji, Craigslist. I'll also do Facebook Marketplace as well. That works well. And just sell stuff that way. The El Rey Dorado from Keeley is a great Van Halen pedal. Yeah, I've seen videos on that one, and it seems nice as well. It's a little expensive, I think, but yeah, you can get, a good Van Halen sound with a variety of different pedals and just dialing it in with your amplifier as well. The key to a good Van Halen sound is starts with the amp, uh, pushing the amp with an overdrive or distortion pedal. The plate reverb is monumental in the Van Halen sound. If you can do a wet dry rig where one amp is doing the wet effects and the other amp is doing the dry effects, that is the easiest way to get a good Van Halen sound. And then of course, for certain songs you need to have the phase 90 or flanger, that type of thing, to get those effects as well. It's not that difficult. I mean, if you think about it, the Van Halen sound is pretty straightforward. There's not much to it. A little bit of delay also, just to give you that kind of echoey slapback delay with a very low mix ratio. So you're getting more dry than wet, but it makes the sound bigger. Richard says, I sell my extra guitars to guitar stores. Okay, in my opinion, guitar stores are not going to give you the best deal for guitars. They're always gonna rip you off a little bit. Even when you're trading them in, if you trade them in because you want to buy something else from them, they don't really give you much. Unless you know somebody that works there and is honest. Otherwise, you're most often taken for a ride. Um, I'm not buying LPD 87 because I heard from someone that there is a deluxe version coming. I'm waiting. I don't know. I didn't hear that, but I haven't really been paying much attention to that particular model. Um, because there's no NAM, it's kind of hard to know what's coming out because I think companies are sitting on their merchandise and they don't want to like release stuff and not be able to sell as well as they could. So I think they're waiting for stuff to settle down with COVID before they actually release new stuff. Ed B says, sick pedal, very cool, love using IRs. What's even cooler is to have it in a pedal. Yeah, definitely. And there's a few companies doing this now with the IRs in the pedal format type of thing. And it's great if you want to try and get a rig where you're like, if you have a pedal where you have like an amp in a box type pedal, and then you go into this, and then from this you go to front of house, or into a power amplifier, into a cabinet. You can mimic a lot of different sounds and have a very compact pedal board doing it that way. Nux is getting my attention. Yeah, Nux is coming out with some interesting things. Hey, James. Nice to see you, man. I'm doing well. How are you? Paul says the Tone Freak Severe is truly the very best EVH sound, but Derek is semi-retired and only does pedals for the stars. I have one coming. Lots of kissy kissy. That's pretty cool. How much did that pedal go for, Paul? Just wondering. Should I sit down for that? Speaking of cool gadgets, got my eye on Tonewood amp for my Martin. So Bruce, are you playing in live situations? You must be, because otherwise, why would you need to amplify an acoustic guitar, right? I play acoustic, but I don't really amplify my sound all that much. The acoustics that I have all have like a balanced output. I have a Martin as well, and it has a balanced output, so I can go to, front of house or whatever. But I always feel like when you amplify an acoustic guitar, it never really sounds as good. It just loses something and it becomes too electronic sounding. And speaking of that, since we were talking about Hotone, there's also this little guy, which is, I haven't spoken about this yet. I still didn't do a review on this as well. This is the Omni AC, and what it does is it simulates acoustic guitars. Now, it's not necessarily, I don't know if you want to use this with an acoustic guitar. Maybe you can. There's also a balanced output XLR in here as well. Small little pedal. I've tried this with electric guitars, and it's not bad. I mean, it's always going to sound like a simulation of an acoustic guitar. I haven't tried it with an acoustic guitar, but I don't see the point of doing that, because obviously if you have an acoustic guitar, you don't need to simulate it. But if you play this one with like a semi-acoustic type guitar, either a 335 or something like my Zach Myers PRS semi-hollow, it really does a convincing acoustic setup in a pinch. So it's nice to have this on your pedal board if you're doing some acoustic, ballads or stuff like that, and you don't want to bring an acoustic guitar to the gig. Is there a certain situation where you choose amp versus mini amp and vice versa? When you say mini amp, Keone, do you mean like just a small amp as opposed to like for example, my Dirty Shirley's a 40 watt. Ooh, I'm reversed. The Dirty Shirley here is a 40 watt amp, right? I typically, I don't know if you mean when you say mini amp, I don't know if you're talking about choosing an amp as opposed to a multi-effects, or if you're talking, a large, more powerful amp over a smaller amp. I rarely use amps that are above 40 or 50 watts because they're just too much power for me. And typically now I usually go with amps that have a switch that can go down to 5 watts, even like 2 watts, Those are the ones that I use most of the time because for recording they're great and they don't blow my ears out. The days of me playing 100-watt amps doesn't make sense anymore for me at this point. I love playing wireless, playing right now through my X-Vibe View 2 wireless set and Line 6 Relay G10. Yeah, the wireless kits are great. I like the wireless kits as well, and I use them in live situations too. It just makes it a lot easier for me to move around. On Instagram, I befriended a guy in a German death band metal. He is helping me to set my amps for a good thrash metal tone. That's cool, man. Are we going to see that anywhere? Are you going to be posting that on your YouTube channel, or how are we going to see how that sounds? Been watching Tonewood on eBay, but they've been going for around $200, and you can get a new one right now direct from the manufacturer for $225 plus no out-of-state taxes. Yeah, if they're going used for 200, you might as well just buy them new. At that price, you're not really risking anything. I mean, for $25 more, you're basically getting peace of mind. Tell your son to come and play us a jam next week. Your reviews are the best, Tony. Thank you, Fat Philosopher. I appreciate that, man. Bruce says, love my Ampero 100 full-size model. Thank you, Tony, for making me aware of it. Hey, I appreciate that, Bruce. Glad you like it, brother. I like it too. I'm using it a lot, man. It's a great little device. And the question following that type of comment is always Ampero or Line 6 pod. Always. Um, you know what? I tried when I bought the Ampero, I went to the guitar store. I plugged in the Ampero. I plugged in the Line 6, and I walked away with the Ampero. Not that the other one was bad. It's just the Ampero to me sounded a little bit more raw. Sounded a little bit more like the sound I would hear plugging into an amp with pedals. And that's the sound that I like. The other one, although the sounds were good, they were a little bit too polished. And I don't know, for me, I like to have that raw bite. I like to feel like I'm plugging into an amp type of thing, you know? So is it the best option out there? Not really, but I mean, for that price point, there's not that much right now. Unless you want to spend a whole bunch of money on a fractal or a Kemper or something like that. Preamp and a pedal. Holy crap, I can't try on this iPad screen. Not a joke. Gibson Leo is his name. He's not really interested in guitars, but his little brother is. What's his little brother's name? The Plek the Friedman guitars. Yeah, okay. I don't doubt it. Plecking a guitar is like 100, 150 bucks if you want to send it in to get done. Gibson is also plecking their stuff as well. No, the terrible pedal was referring the pedal with brown sound in a box. I think the distortion plus delay combo would make more sense to keep those separate. Okay, so not to get confused, Ed, the brown sound in a box is not the same pedal with the reverb built in. Okay, the brown sound in a box is just distortion, like overdrive, by General Guitar Gadgets. They sell guitar pedal kits. That's the one I like. The one I didn't like was the Mad Professor 1, I think it's called, where they have a distortion pedal and a reverb pedal in the same box. Yeah, that didn't work very well at all. So that's the one that I ended up selling. Distortion before the preamp and delay after the preamp. So seems weird to me to put them in one pedal. Exactly, exactly. And that's where the problem was. Google Portable Sauna. The steamer is part of it. A canister with a tube that connects to the portable sauna. You only need to use the canister, fills with water and shoots out steam. Okay, I'll check that out. Thank you, Cool Tunes Made Easy. Anything that can get me closer to finishing that guitar is very much appreciated. No worries, Ed. I always mess up my typing too when I'm trying to do things quick, so it's no problem. If he plays piano, he'll have to change his name to Steinway. One thing I wanted to share with you guys also on a side note, beyond, there's a lot of guitar talk going on, which is cool. But one of the things I wanted to say also is, when I started giving lessons online again, and I do that on and off depending on my situation with time. But one thing that I noticed recently, and this is just because when you're playing, giving lessons to people that are kind of in a beginner stage, sometimes the light clicks on certain aspects of playing. And I wanted to share this with you guys, just in case you're new and you're starting to play guitar. Maybe some of you are not, or you know somebody that is. But one thing that dawned on me yesterday, and thanks to Leo, my student, he's working really hard trying to get up to speed with his chord changes. And it's not always easy when you're a beginner. And I noticed one thing with him yesterday, and I want to share it with you guys. And it just dawned on me because you take things for granted. When you're doing chord changes, like whatever the chord is, if you're going from barred chords, whatever the chord is, what I noticed with him was that he was having trouble switching chords quickly. And because he's at the point where, when you're a beginner, your fingers don't necessarily go into the correct position. And sometimes you kind of like you have to kind of look at your fingers and put them in the right place. It's not automatic yet. It's not muscle memory. Well, I noticed what he was doing that was actually slowing him down, and this is something that you guys might pay attention to, is when he was actually fingering the chord, instead of putting his fingers down in the order of the strumming, so to be more efficient, let's say you're doing a C chord. Well, obviously the C is what you're going to hit first, right? So, but what he was doing is he was putting his fingers down like in weird combinations where he would be putting his fingers in place, but those fingerings were not the first notes that he was hitting. So he was actually slowing himself down. So I pointed that out to him. I said, look, just take your chords and make sure you're putting your fingers down in the order of your strumming. So if you're strumming downwards, then you want to make sure that you're putting that E string, that E note down first, and then followed by the other ones, and not doing it in a weird pattern where you're doing the other strings first. And it seemed like something that I hadn't really noticed or thought about till that point, because to me, that wasn't the issue. Like, I didn't have trouble swapping chords. And I take it for granted that most people do this, but in actual fact, he was not. And I think that's going to help him shave off at least a few milliseconds, if not a few seconds, in his chord changes when he finally gets up to speed. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. Pass it on to anybody learning how to play guitar and learning how to play chords. I think that will help them out. So that's a free tip, the free tip of the day. Bruce says, Tony, check out Mike Dawes' YouTube videos for Tonewood. Blows your mind. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it because then I'm going to end up buying stuff. I know I will. Thanks for the tip, Bruce. I'm joking. I will take a look. Kevin. Hey, Kevin. How's it going, man? Hello from Colorado. Are you still living the Black Star? JJN. I think you meant loving. Yes, I am. I'm loving it a lot. It's right in back of me, right over here. Where is it? It's on the floor. It's, on this side. Sorry. There it is. It's mic'd up. You can see I have a couple of mics on it. I was using it to record some songs. We're recording 4 tracks with the band that I play with, and I was putting down some alternate takes. That's one of the reasons why I haven't actually done a full review on the amp yet, because I'm in the middle of recording the tracks. Everything's set up. I don't want to move things around yet because I'm getting the sound that I want. But that amplifier, man, killer amp. And what I also want to do for you guys, I want to compare that amp to the Brunetti Pleximan and the Friedman and the Fender, the bass breaker as well, because they all share similar DNA, but they're all different. They all have, like, the frequencies are all in different places, so they all have their own specific thing going on, but there is some overlap, and they all sound great, and I'm having trouble figuring out which one I love more. But the Black Star definitely has impressed me. Keith says, Rosa's Workshop YouTube channel has made his own steamer. Watch them take off a guitar neck, kind of like a teapot rig with tubing to something like a ball pump up needle. Worked good. I think what you're talking about is he probably has a pressure cooker I've seen those where they take a pressure cooker, they put the tube in there, they boil up some water, and then they use a needle like a basting needle, and they use that. There's many ways you can do it. I've seen people using coffee machines that they got out of the garbage and they modified, but you know, and regular steamers as well. Gospel of Mark says his little brother's name is Jasper. So how come you went like full Monty on the other kid's name, you know, guitar related name, and the first one is just Jasper? What happened there? Pavan Sath. I can't pronounce your last name. Sorry, Sathya. Can you play any solos for me, please? Uh, sure. I'm not plugged in. I'm not even warmed up, so I can play Led Zeppelin solos. I can play Pink Floyd solos. I was actually trying to learn the the solo to Highway Star, and it's really difficult because you have to be dead on. It's really like and I like to play the Black Star solo, trying to learn that one. That one there, that's a nice solo as well. Offhand, I'm just trying to think of a solo that, you know. I don't even want to. I don't want to play the solos too much because I'm gonna get blackballed out of monetization just because of YouTube. So I try not to play. If I play a solo, I'll fuck it up a little bit, sometimes on purpose, sometimes not, just because I want to be able to not get my video demonetized. But you get the idea. Ever had any outright horrible first impressions experiences with gear? If you'd be keen to share. Yeah, for sure. Before I figured out that what amplifier I actually like a lot, I experimented a lot with a lot of different amps. One of which was a Mesa Boogie Stiletto, and you know, on paper it looked good. It looked like it would be a killer type of amp. I brought it home, and I brought it home, and it ended up being like a nightmare. It was had such high end on that amplifier. It was just to the point of being like annoying, and I was disappointed with that amp. And I sold it within a matter of days. What else? At one point, I had purchased a Fender amp, which was not for me. It was just, I don't know. It really didn't do it for me. So I returned that amp as well. As far as guitars go, anything that I really like. I wouldn't say horrible. It's just they weren't for me. You know what I mean? It's not like horrible to me is like you buy something and it breaks, you know, or there's an issue with it, you know, right off the bat. That would be horrible. So I haven't really had a horrible experience, but you know, definitely have been through a lot of gear that just wasn't for me. Most recently, in terms of pedal, I tried the Tone City pedal, which was supposed to be sort of a clone, not even a clone. It was a Tone City pedal that was designed to be kind of an emulation of the King of Tone pedal, and it was terrible because I would plug it in, and anything above 12 would squeal. I would put anything, like, you know, you put the gain at 1 o'clock, it would start to squeal, and to me it was unusable. So I sold it right off the bat. You know, it was just one of those things that to me is close to being horrible. uh, but most of the other experiences I've had, it really was just like um, disappointment. Sometimes you'll buy a guitar used and you think it's in pretty good condition, and when you finally get it, you see that there are issues with it that were kind of hidden, that kind of thing. That stuff I don't really like. But on the other hand, any outright amazing first impressions? Yeah, obviously a couple of different things. When I first started playing PRS guitars, I started playing the single cuts, the 22s, 24s, which I didn't like. I bought one and I couldn't bond with the longer scale length. I went to the 345, and I really love those guitars. So for me, the first impression on those guitars were really, really good. Um, First impressions on the Tokai stuff. The Tokai, I say over and over again, blew my socks off in terms of just tone and quality. I love that stuff for the money. So the first impression on those guitars was really good. Um, and also the road worn Strat, which I didn't really figure would be a nice feeling guitar, ended up surprising me quite a bit. Um, so the first impression, I'm not gonna say the first impression, because the guitar, the road worn stuff that they have now, that I've tried now, doesn't do it for me. But the one that I purchased, which is an older road worn series Strat, which technically now is kind of, I'm not gonna say vintage, but it's actually worn because it's over 10 years old. That one plays and sounds great. The new stuff, because I figured if this one sounds good, I'd maybe pick up another one. And I went to try out the new stuff, and they didn't feel the same. So maybe the real, like a road worn Strat that actually has been worn in actual real life, is the way to go. But definitely not the same as an off the shelf version. Hey Jason, nice to see you, man. Anyone have any experience with the Ibanez TS10 worth the price? The TS10 is very similar to the TS, from what I understand, the TS9 and the TS 808. And at a certain point, I think even Stereo Yvonne was using it as an alternate. And it doesn't get a lot of love because of the way it looks, and the way, it looks a little bit awkward compared to the other ones. They're still pretty expensive, but I think the word out is on the street now is that they're pretty good. Don't pay over 200. Yeah. Plus, there's so many clones of the Tube Screamer today that you can buy, like something that sounds pretty much dead on for a lot less money. New channel, Tony's tip of the day. I'm always happy to share some tips. I'm excited for your full review and shootout with the other amps. So am I, man. Because you know what? It's not only for you guys, it's also a way for me to be able to listen back to the individual amps. When you're in the room, it doesn't give you the same sound as when it's recorded. And that's one of the disadvantages with YouTube reviews, is that sometimes it's just not the same. But it allows me to also keep a log of all these different sounds. And sometimes after the amp is gone, you wanna go back and say, yeah, how did that amp actually sound, in this, how would it sound in this situation? And going back and watching the videos is a great way. It's almost like a diary of the stuff that's come and gone over the years, months, days, So it helps me out as well. Oh, I see. I got to name the first kid, wife named the second. That explains it. Bruce says, my first son's name is Eric, but my wife won't go for Jimmy or number two son. Jason, hey Tony, is the ES335 build behind you? If not, what is it? Looks very nice. Hey Jason, yeah, it is. It is the build. That's the one. When the video is over, rewind it and go back, and you'll see I talk about it and show it in the video. We talked about it earlier today, and it's a bittersweet moment for that guitar build, and you'll see why if you back up the video. Hey Landon, nice to see you, dude. Good morning from rainy Ottawa. It's raining here too, man. It's overcast, rainy. I helped my daughter wash and wax her car yesterday, so it's my fault. That's why it's raining today. Jason says, what is the baked mod? Yeah, what is the baked mod? Sorry, I missed that one. I just got a limited edition Princeton Reverb. It has a 12-inch Alnico Blue speaker. Loving it. You know what? I've heard, I went to a local shop here and the guy had an original Princeton, an old vintage one. Sounded fantastic. Unfortunately, it's not for sale. So I'm wondering if the limited edition ones are gonna sound as good as that one. Eventually, I'd love to have one. They're expensive, however, but the 12-inch speaker should make a huge difference. Does it still have does it get farty when you try and put some gain through it? All of the solid state amps I had at the beginning were gone quickly. The tubes just made a world of difference. I agree, man. Although there's a lot of excited talk about the Fender Tone Master that they came out with recently, I'm still not convinced. I did a video with my buddy Buddha, and we were talking about that. He picked one up, and he surprised me because he's kind of a cork sniffer when it comes to the boutique sounds, and he's a really picky about his sound. So I'm surprised that he actually purchased one. But for him, he says it makes a lot of sense because it's light, it's easy to carry, it won't break down, you don't have to worry about the tubes, the sound is actually very good. And although he did say it's maybe not compared to his ideal amp, which is I guess one of the Mesa Boogie amps that he has there, I think it's the Lone Star that he likes a lot. I don't think he would trade it for the Lone Star, but in his gigging life, and it just makes a lot of sense for him to use that particular amp. And I'm wondering, I haven't tried it yet because I haven't had the opportunity to go to too many shops yet. It's just with COVID and stuff, I haven't been just window shopping as much. But eventually I'd like to try one, and maybe I'll even rent one if they have them to rent, and do a little review on it as well. A pedal that's been modified allows you to dial in tones that are different than the standard reissue. I get it. Okay, so we were talking about the pedals there. Yeah, he just set his water container on a hot plate on his workbench. I have a bunch of tubing from breathing machine. Problem. Probably would work. Would be glad to send you if you decide to get creative. I'll let you know, Keith. I'm sure I could fandangle something. I could MacGyver something. That's not an issue. I'm just hoping that glue is gonna like soften. It's wood glue, and man, wood glue is pretty hard to get soft. No pun intended. Take it easy, Fat Philosopher. Sweet dreams, buddy. Hope you have some nice dreams of gear and tone and pedals and that kind of thing. Hey, Jason, thank you for the nice comment. I'm glad you dig the channel. All you need is a warm air humidifier. Is that going to be enough? I don't think so. All I know is that the steamer that I use for curtains it gets really hot. Like you can burn yourself in a matter of seconds with that thing. So I'm pretty sure that's going to work like a charm if I try and go that route. It's just that I have to cannibalize it and I don't want to break it. So I'm going to probably see if I can cut the tubing and make an adapter, some kind of an adapter where I can still return it to its previous glory if I need to. Hey, Tim. Nice to see you, dude. Quarantine Music Creations. What do you think of the 2020 Epiphone Les Paul, sir? Uh, just from the video reviews that I've watched, it's a nice looking Epiphone. I don't think it's going to be bad in any sense of the word. I think they're trying to, breathe new life into the Epiphone line. They're still kind of expensive for what they are, in my opinion. I would still probably go for a Tokai before I would go for an Epiphone. If they would change the shape of the Epiphone headstock, they would probably sell a ton more of those things. And I really don't understand why they haven't done that yet. But if they ever do, I'm going to be in line to buy one. Till then, I'm going to pass. London Bailey. Yeah, if you want to hear it, I just did a full video. I think you'd be surprised. I won't share the link. Not sure if you allow them. I'll send you an email. I would appreciate that, Landon. Absolutely, dude. Check that out. I'll check out the email. Thanks, man. When you buy a guitar online, is it better to loosen the strings when you buy a guitar online? You mean, I'm not sure what you're trying to say. So if you're shipping the guitar, you mean? If you're buying a guitar online and you want to ship it? Look, you can loosen the strings. It doesn't really make too much of a difference. I mean, the neck is designed to be under pressure with the guitar strings. And actually having the strings loose maybe will make the neck actually move in a negative way more than it would if the strings were under tension. I think when you're shipping it, I mean, the ideal situation is to make sure that the neck won't bounce around in the box or in the case. It's a better idea to put the guitar in a case and make sure it's well padded before it actually gets shipped. Whether or not the strings are tightened or loosened, I don't think really makes too much difference, in my opinion. I haven't ever received a guitar, luckily, that got damaged because of that. I think if anything happens and things get damaged, it's mostly because the guitar wasn't packaged properly to begin with. Especially, if you're dealing with Gibsons, the headstock issue, if it bounces around in the case, because the case is not made for the guitar or it's not boxed properly, yeah, you definitely would have issues there. And I keep talking about Tokais. I don't want to put down anybody that has an Epiphone because Epiphones are not bad guitars. I've tried them; they play great. They're good guitars. I mean, I'm not gonna say they're bad guitars. It's just that I find for the amount of money that you're paying about $1,000 nowadays for an Epiphone, whereas in the past they were like $700-800, even less, which was more realistic. Now everything's becoming more expensive. So if you're spending about $1,000 on a guitar, honestly, check out a Japanese Tokai, and I think dollar for dollar you're getting more guitar out of the Tokai than you are out of the Epiphone. Uh, you know, Guys like Stevie Ray Vaughan were in the early days played the Tokai Strats. Billy Gibbons is known to be playing the Tokai Strat, and the guy's got the Pearly Gates guitar worth what, $500,000 probably or more. And if you check out Jailhouse Rock on YouTube, where they're playing ZZ Top is playing Jailhouse Rock. It's an older video. The video is a little grainy because it's older, but you can definitely make out Billy Gibbons playing the Tokai on stage in that song. So, a lot of famous players are known to play like less expensive guitars, and it doesn't necessarily make them any less good. A lot of people will opt for cheaper guitars. It's like You know, case in point, if you look at, you know, like for example, Prince. Okay, Prince played a Honor Mad, I think they're called Honor Mad Cat Telecaster, the one with the line in the middle of it. And this was something that was made for him specifically, but they reissued it later as the Prince model. But you know, you can get a guitar that mimics this guitar if you like it for about $200. And the Honor version of that guitar initially wasn't very expensive. So you would think, like, you know, a famous star like Prince would be able to have any guitar that he chooses. And it doesn't mean you have to go crazy on you know, on a guitar. Eddie Van Halen, you know, his first guitar was the Teisco, which was a $70 guitar that you can buy. I think it was the ET440 Teisco Del Rey, I think, made it at the time. Now, obviously, you know, Eddie Van Halen is Eddie Van Halen, but, you know, he got and he played what he could afford. Billy Joe Armstrong of Green Day, he plays the Fernandez S style guitar. You can see him playing that guitar, you know, and Fernandez, right? Why not go for a Fender? You know, why not go for something, you know, specific to him, you know? Derek Trucks, you know, 1964 Silvertone Tuxedo. It's a $500 guitar, you know? So at the end, it's not a question of how much the actual guitar is worth. It really is, you know, what you can squeeze out of it. I often say the Squier stuff, the classic vibes are great value for the money, especially on the used market. So if you can grab one used, man, go right, like don't hesitate, because the classic vibe stuff is good. I've used it and I vouch for it. If you can afford the expensive stuff, fantastic. I've done shootouts between expensive and cheap, or affordable. I don't want to say cheap. And a lot of you have selected the sound of the cheap guitar or the cheaper guitar in a blind shootout. So guys, you know, it really is what you make of it. I'm playing this guitar right now. I mean, this is not an expensive guitar. It's a Harley Benton Fusion 2, modeled after a very expensive Sir guitar. I think we all know which one it is. It's the Pete Thorne model, right? This is what it's actually modeled after. The Pete Thorne model is like, I think, $5,500. $5,500. This guitar plays pretty good if you ask me, and it's nowhere near $5,000. So keep it in perspective, guys, right? All right. So guys, I think we're gonna call it a day. I've been yapping for almost 2 hours. I was intending to only go for one, but you guys got me revved up. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. Please give me a thumbs up if you like these live sessions, because definitely encourages me to make more for you guys. I like the fact that you guys are tuning in regularly, and every time we have one of these, I see a bunch more new faces, so I really do appreciate that. If you want to encourage the channel, please take advantage of the merchandise at the bottom of the video. Take advantage of the coupon code ATG33, which will give you a 10% discount on any of the merch. That helps the channel. And obviously, if you're interested in becoming a subscriber, please hit the little subscribe button and the little bell icon, and then you'll be notified when I put new videos out. And there'll be a bunch of new videos coming out very, very shortly. If you have any comments, please ask away. I always take time out of my day to answer all of your comments as much as I can. And from time to time, I'll do a live event where I'll just answer user comments because there's just too many. And I figured put out a video and answer all the questions all at once. I think you guys like that format too. So I really appreciate it, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Have a fantastic Sunday. I'll let you know how the 335 modification comes out next time, hopefully. And until then, stay tuned, keep rocking, more great videos coming your way. See you soon, boys. Bye for now.